A BRUKOUT, we say.
Good evening. Welcome to BRUKOUT and Chat. I want to say thank you very much for everybody that has come out early. I know there's going to be a few more running in. You know, it says Black History Month, so we keep it very historic and traditional and come late. But I do thank you for coming out on a Sunday. Can you come over here and join us in the centre?
Come man, show your pretty face. Hide your pretty face.
Come on, no.
Over it.
Do you recognize her face from a One Love dance back in the day, sweetie?
To be fair, I recognize a few faces from
her. I tell you, she was a singer in church.
She was a singer in church?
Yep.
For real?
Yep.
You was a singer in church?
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
Tubbs
Road. If I recognize her.
Tubbs Road.
So, I want to just start off by saying it's not very often that people like myself and my company get the opportunity to partner up with Box Park and come in here and just doing dances and events, which Rudy and Ratty's going to be playing some music later on here. Doing that kind of stuff is one thing, but I think sometimes we have to take the opportunity for the spaces that we do have to have discussion and talk about our history, because it's a very rich history. And if we look at the UK charts right now and just look at the UK black music scene, some people would think that it's done overnight. You know what I'm saying? To see the likes of Stormzy on Glastonbury and other artists like that doing such big things. But generals like Sweetie Irie, John McClean have been putting in the work as artists and building those blocks over the years. And we have RUDY RANX here as well, who's going to be talking about it from a DJ and sound system perspective. So first of all, we do know everybody that's here on the stage, yeah? We know about Sweetie. Sweetie, you go first. Tell them about yourself, sir. Yeah, who are you?
I'm Sweetie Irie.
The man with the agony.
How you mean? Them know about me, man.
The mention kid.
The mention kid. Yeah,
doing it from like way back in the day.
From way back. I mean, I started really when I could talk. Because, you know, my dad, well, as you know, my dad is very musical.
Tell them about your dad. Even I didn't even want to start it like this, but I think that your dad is probably one of the most important people in like the West London area when it comes 100%. To like motivating youths and putting youths out there.
Well, so, he's been running the Avenues Youth Club for about 35 years. So it's from my generation, this generation, and he's still running them.
He's still at Avenues.
Do you know the last star to come from Avenues?
Fredo.
Fredo.
Oh, come on, don't play with me. You don't know about Fredo? Some of your children may listen to Fredo. He's like one of the biggest rap stars out of the UK right now. Yeah. Like back-to-back number ones. Yeah. Like selling. When I talk about number ones, I'm talking about number ones in the UK pop chart. John McClean. Yes. Welcome, John McClean, people.
Yeah. Thank you. John McClean. Well, next year, I'll put it this way. Next year, I will be celebrating 40 years as a recording artist. But I was, singing from like Sweetie. From I know myself, I was always singing. Like many before me, we started off in the church because our parents was very religious people when they came, and we went along with it for a while. Yeah, and
everybody got church on a Sunday morning.
I said for a while.
Church on a Sunday morning.
We went along because we obedient, But after a while, as you know, we start to see and know things for ourselves and make our own decisions. But musically, my mother bought me my first instrument because she wanted me to play in the church, And and really, that's where, in a nutshell for now, that's where, I started in the church as a musician. I sang as well in the choirs and did my little thing. Rudy's probably going to tell you some stories because we grew up together.
This is the amazing thing about these two.
Don't believe a word of it. No, but as far as I said, it's from I know myself. I was born in Hammersmith in London, early 60s. So it's been a while, But as I said, before recording, it was the sound system. Again,
this is what I wanted to talk about with you and Rudy, actually.
Yeah.
Because before you started singing, you were telling me about the sound system. Rudy, your original selector from long time. I know many of us know who Rudy Ranks is, but do you know that Rudy Ranks can also play bass? No, you never know, Rudy can. He's a wicked.
He told me he's an actor as well.
I don't know about the acting part.
So him say.
I don't know about the acting part.
He's always been acting. From I know him, he's been an actor.
So
but
Rudy,
no, he's a multi-talented musician, you know, as well as bass.
He's one of my biggest influences and inspiration when it comes to DJing and knowing about the music as well. I use him as like my library. If I ever need a song, like Rudy Ranks will have the song. So tell me about how you and John met up. How old was you guys when you met up?
I think I must have been about 12, 13.
Yeah, because I'm slightly older than...
Not slightly, I'm the baby. I'm the baby up here. Not slightly. Yeah, it must have been about 12.
Okay.
Again, like John said, our parents... Sorry, I'm Rudy Ranks. Parents, church, and that's how going to the same church, Church of God of Prophecy, that's how I linked up with John and his brother, Fred. Again, it was just a love of music. My music history came from my siblings, my brothers and sisters, older brothers and sisters. I'm the youngest of 7, and they were all into their music. It wasn't nothing to do with my mum or my dad. My mum, what do you mean? Music, what kind of music? No. But stories that she would always tell people, my friends, from I was like 3 years old, I used to sit down in the front room and cut out these little round paper shapes, stick them on a pencil and sit there rocking, going like that, and you know? So it's kind of born into me still, you know? Fast forward, growing up, as I said, church, linked up with John and Fred, and self-taught myself to play the guitar. So we started with the church band, and we used to get enough kind of cussing and little eyes on a Sunday because...
Can I just put this into perspective before you continue? Because there wasn't an industry, there wasn't a scene, there wasn't nothing to aspire to, I would presume, back in that time, because UK Lovers Rock was the first UK music to come out of Britain.
Yeah, but you know what it is? Again, I was the only one out of us who was in the church. So away from the church, I was still listening to the reggae music and the soul music that my brothers and sisters were playing. Same way with
my
John.
Brothers. Yeah, I had
so when we culminated and come together as a band, we'd go into church, and when they're singing their hymns, we want put a little one drop on.
One drop bass line, yeah.
And I remember Pastor Morris, man, not in this church, no reggae.
Yeah,
So
that was in them days. But as you know now, gospel reggae is very popular. But at that time, they wasn't so used to it, and I don't think they were ready for it. So they sort of used to tell us, you know, easy on the reggae.
Not too much on the culture.
Yeah.
So what kind of songs was you listening to during that time?
Oh,
before
gosh.
you embarked onto being a band and you being an artist?
Me personally, again, from my dad's collection. I mean, when my dad he came with his grip of music, which he very lovingly handed over to me last year. You know, the blue beat, the scare, the mentor, rock steady. So come right up to what my brothers and sisters were listening to, the Gregory Isaacs, the Dennis Browns, you know what I mean, the Jacob Millers, the classics, the legends. So that was always in my head as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, same here, because even my brothers, they had sound system as well before we even had sound.
Okay.
Yeah, and they used to play with us, Jesus. I don't know if I was for, you know, your memories go back, sound, Count Jesus and Tropical and Sufferer.
Well, I'm not as old as him.
He ain't got the grey in his beard.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's cold.
All right.
Yeah, cold true.
Yeah.
You like the cold true one, isn't it? It's your favourite one, isn't it? Yeah. Before my time, slightly.
Yeah, so the music was always, we always had the influences there, you know?
It's from the church, actually, you know, again, with us continuing the band, that the sound system then started. Our sound system started, Black Star Liner.
So you, first of all, you guys was playing in the church band?
Band, yeah.
So you used to play in the church band as well?
Yeah.
What
Yeah, I
instrument
played bass,
You
bass
played
guitar.
bass?
I used to play rhythm guitar, and Fred used to play drums.
And my younger brother used to play drums.
So did the sound system become come first before the band? What came first?
I think it was both. They aligned. They were both running kind of parallel.
Yeah,
with each other.
I would say, yeah.
Because we never ever left out, you know, we never left the church. We couldn't leave the church.
None of us ever left the church.
We couldn't leave not even, we didn't have an option. But you know, doing the sound system, that was our enjoyment. That was our niche. Okay. You know, and doing the parties. I mean, we was out every week.
Yeah, very popular
every single week.
Days.
Every single week.
So how popular was the sound? Tell me about the sound system and the kind of journey that you took with the sound system.
Well, it was, you see, it was a sound that we could either play in parties and nice them up, or we could play in a hall. We played with, in the early days, we played with Saxon.
We was the first sound in West London. We were the first sound. I think that was one of, in terms of artists and stuff like that. I remember it, Acklam Hall, which is now Subterranea. Saxon and Black Star Liner. And I remember, I don't know if you remember back in the day when you used to have the big billboards, big posters.
Big posters, yeah.
But they was of a different kind of style. There was of a certain style. And I remember seeing it and saying, Saxon? Who's Saxon? Wow. Never heard of Saxon. Never ever, had we? But I remember we rolled up at that dance. It was a good dance. And artists, the amount of artists at that time that came through, I mean, Rankin, Trevor, Toyan, Captain Sinbad. It was like a reggae sumfest in Acklam. The amount of artists that passed through that dance.
Was this imported artists, obviously? What about UK artists? Was there any UK artists at this time that you was looking at, or even yourself, John, you was looking at and saying, you know something, I want to be like that person. That's the person I aspire to be like.
That's a bit of a difficult one. I remember in those days, even Maxi, the young Maxi Priest and them guys was going on with great things still. I can't say there was ever any one that I could say, oh, I aspire to be. All I know is that I was just being driven by the music, by the love of the music. You know what I'm saying? Later on, obviously, when I went into my solo career, you start to rub shoulders with a lot of, you know, the artists and stuff. But yeah, it was just really a progression from the sound into being an artist. And then I think we kind of eased back on the sound after a while, because what happened with the Starliner special that we done, we released that as a single. It done very well.
Yeah, sorry, the Starliner special. We recorded a song,
yeah,
just for the sound to play out.
You remember the song?
Yeah.
Give us a liner.
Not me. He's a singer.
Now is the time for you.
I'm sure you lot must know it. You must know it.
Cause we're gonna dance all night.
Can you come a little bit closer?
While I get my favorite song.
Come a little bit closer.
Yeah. So basically,
and we recorded that. We recorded that just as a special, just to play out, just for ourselves.
Yeah, it was just for the sound.
Nothing to
that
do
was
with
that was a real special. That was a one-away special.
Yeah.
Because even in them days, I don't think specials were such a big thing at them time anyway.
Specials wasn't a thing. It wasn't.
No.
You
know what I mean? So we done it because we could play instruments. I could sing. We said, let's do it. And every time we played the song, we had to jack it up.
Mark Angelo's studio. I remember it, man. And to the point that the public, I think that it was the public. Every time we played that, people just like, you know, this is so good. Yeah. You need to release it.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember a label called Music Lovers Label. They used to put out a lot of Jamaican artists, acts like Ja Thomas and Tristan Palmer and all. Anyway, I knew the producer very well. He was a friend of mine. And he basically came and said, John, that song needs to be out on the road. I said, well, you know, it's a sound tune. He said, no, man, the way the people them love the tune, you know, give them the tune. And we said, okay. We went back into the studio, mix it, put it out, and
we added another a reggae DJ legend who's sadly no longer with us.
We
Toyan.
Rankin Toyan. I don't know if any of you remember.
Toyan was on
Rankin Toyan. He was quite a popular DJ in his time. Yeah, and he was a good friend of mine as well, you know. And he basically done a version of that. and we put it out, and it done very well.
Very well.
And then that sort of, because now, you know, the work started to come in as the band and as a vocal artist, we kind of moved slightly away from the sound system because the workload got a bit, but it was just another step into it.
But would you say that the sound system was like the source of you guys moving
100%,
forward?
100%. The sound, it was all about the sound.
Yeah.
When we did the sound, we were totally engrossed in it.
We used to have meetings, whether we was playing out or not,
Yeah,
regular,
yeah,
like
the
clock.
sound
John
was-
used to call meeting. He was the overseer. Sometimes
Okay.
I used to
After Cold
sometimes
West,
I used to have to sneak out my yard to get to Hammersmith Grove to catch the meeting, 6:30 on time.
Now, this is where I can call you in, because how I first heard about Sweetie Irie, I think I was around 14, 15, going to school. And my virgin, my best friend from school, Dan Richards from Harrow Road, who I know you know very well. Your father used to look after him at Avenues as well. He used to bring in these tapes from One Love Sound. And that's how I first heard about you. Can you say that your journey is pretty similar to John and Rudy, saying that a sound system helped propel you to that place?
I definitely think sound system is where I learned my craft.
Okay.
So my uncles had a sound called Paddington Terror, which was a big sound in West London, probably bigger than DSL.
Probably.
And, probably. Yeah, Song Clash. And then my dad and Jazwad's dad used to put on shows with Dennis Brown and Gregory. There was a
When you
place.
said Jazzwad, you can't just say Jazzwad like that. Jazzwad is another guy that I actually went to school with. He was in the same, he was that 1 year older than me. Me, Jazzwad, and Julia Marley all went to school together in Burlington Danes in West London. Julia, nobody ever believed that Julia Marley was Bob Marley's.
I didn't believe it. You know?
Nobody believed him. But why I say you can't just say Jazzwad like that, because Jazzwad left from over here,
Well, Jazzwad is one of our most
celebrated.
musicians. Like Jazzwad was really brave because Jazzwad
Talented musician.
left from London, went to Jamaica, and really grafted. And I think his first tune was with Bounty Killer.
Bounty Killer and Beanie Man.
But
and them.
Jazzwad has worked with Garnet, Seal, you name it. Everybody you could think of, Jazzwad's worked with.
That's why I didn't want you just to pass over his
All
name
right.
just like that.
Sorry,
You
Jazzwad.
gotta give him some respect.
But yeah, so my dad and his dad used to keep shows with Dee Brown and Gregory and Delroy. So I was always amongst them. But at the time, I didn't really appreciate how big these guys was. I just knew it was, Uncle Dennis or Gregory. It wasn't till I got a bit older that I realized that I was amongst greatness, really. But the sound system, I think I kind of learned my craft on sound system, learned how to perform and stuff like that. But the wave what I came with was myself, Rudy King, General Levy. We came with a new wave, and we loved the sound system, but I wanted to entertain. I didn't want to just stand behind the sound. I wanted like the girls to see me. So I used to climb on speaker box, anything I could find to make a stage. And when I did my first tune I did 17 with Aswad, On and On. And
Hold on. You can't just make him say the first tune at 17 On and On with Aswad just like that. Do we know the song that he's chatting about, yeah? Yes. Give us that one line now.
Hey, come, catch the danger.
Ooh, we had the DJ.
That one there.
That wasn't just that was a smash, sweetie.
It was weird because I was just leaving school. I did it, and then Ireland called me and said, well, they want to sign me because the tune's #1 in about 62 countries. And it kind of went from there. But the point I was making is we wanted to do stage shows more than just be behind the sound system. So I think really my generation took it from sound system to, selling out venues and stuff.
So tell me how you made your name, because in 2019 we've got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Like, kids don't even need to leave their house. They just stick their music out there and they go and make that run. How did you hear about Sweetie Irie? Actually, as a DJ on the road, Rudy.
True sound system. Sound system was, and I believe this on the main, that sound system was the social network back in the day. because it was a place where we could all come together and congregate, you know. And yeah, that's how I learned about Sweetie Irie and General Levy. And then you find out who them know and the links, just all about the links, you know.
You know what's really strange? So, Drummy Zeb, Aswad singer or drummer, my mum and his brother went to school together. So it's like I did a tune with them, and then about a year later they found out, oh, and I said, that's your mum and that's your dad. It's like we're all connected. Yeah. Somewhere along the line, we're all connected, you know.
So On and On is a classic that has gone down in the UK history when it comes to UK dancehall music. What did that song do for you? How did it propel you?
It was crazy, really, because you know I was just singing on the sound systems.
Wasn't you're probably one of the first youths that get signed to a major label like Island, then other than did Tippa or any of them get signed back in the day? Tippa was on Green Sleeves.
No, I think Smiley Culture would be probably the first, and then we took it, you know, from where he left it, really. But yeah, I got signed to Island. I toured the world. I made an album, and I'm still doing it.
You can't just brush over it like that, sweetie. We're here to talk.
I'm not very good about boasting, you know.
It's not even a case.
Or bigging up myself.
It's not even a case of boasting or bigging up yourself, but it's a case of documenting what these youths now are doing.
Yeah.
You was one of the first man them out there in the industry, in the record labels, putting in that work for them to come and inherit off of the back of that.
I just felt like I used to watch the pop acts and always feel like, why can't we be on that same level? So I was always striving to do more and be bigger. Not bigger as in I wanted more fame. I just wanted an equal playground, if you know. Yeah, platform. So yeah, that's what I pushed for. So I made sure, like, when I was doing shows, it was a certain amount. If the promoters didn't pay, I didn't play. I wanted my stage to be like the pop acts.
With production,
the whole thing, yeah, dancers,
pyrotechnics,
everything. And you know, we had a good run. We was quite determined to get what we wanted. And I feel like even now, the music, what you see now, really, they're standing on these giants' shoulders, you know? But yeah, I mean, I don't know what
So what was your experience like at Island Records, being in such a big label at the time, giants like Aswad being there, but you're doing the street music, which is dancehall, which is, during that time, I would say it was the peak for dancehall when it comes to creativity. Yeah. Maybe not comes to the economics of it, but when it comes to creativity, 90s dancehall will always be like the standard. What was your experience like being at that label?
I think I was probably very lucky to start with Island because they didn't try and infiltrate the music. They let me just be creative and try and work out where they're going to sell the music. Whereas I had to deal with Virgin, who really wanted to pop it up. So it never really worked with them. But Island, up to this day, I think Island's...
Well, you had records like Leggings, New Talk with Joe Knight. That was a big, massive record. Back in the day, I hated this record.
Slim Body Girls.
No, it's not that record.
Sorry.
I'm defending the ladies.
Which?
Marga Manadan.
Because
I was a fat you. I was
he
like
was
20
fat, you know.
I was 20 odd stone.
Wait, do you know Bernie Mac?
Shut up.
That's why I used to call. He used to look just like Bernie.
I'm not even in front. I did used to look like Bernie.
Look at him now. He's all Idris now, isn't it? Man turned from Bernie to Idris. Yes.
I hated I couldn't wait to have this discussion. I hated Marga Manadan. Ladies,
well,
I hated that record.
You know what? I had to big up myself because I was so skinny. So I was just trying to, you know, big up myself and things, yeah.
And it worked.
It worked, yeah. It definitely did.
What these youths are doing right now on the big stages and the festivals and all the rest of it, I witnessed you doing that kind of madness like at Brockwell Park and all the rest of it. How do you feel now to see where the music is and knowing where the journey is with this music is right now?
Honestly, I'm so proud because even some of them who don't even know who we are, it's us, you know, and it's progression. To see someone like Stormzy headlining Glastonbury, it just makes me proud, blood, because we done it to a certain level and they're meant to as the younger generation, push it even further. So now you see the rappers, within a few weeks, they can buy a home and buy a car and set up a business. So for me, it's progression. It makes me proud, man.
And we can't forget the disconnect. We can't disconnect what they're doing to what you guys have done, because you could trace it back from drill to grime to garage to drum and bass to jungle to UK dancehall to reggae, and then it starts with a man like this, John McClean, Lovers Rock, because it is, UK Lovers Rock is the first UK-based music. Now, you've just heard Sweetie talk about his rise and getting signed by a label like Island, but I know it's slightly different for you, John. Tell me about how you came about and how the name John McClean came to the forefront.
Well, as I said, you know, when we released Starliner, which was around 1980, it basically launched my solo career. We released a few more tunes after that using the same band, Starliner Rhythm Records. Do you remember that name? Yeah, and but it wasn't until I actually went to Irie. I was recording with one of the DJs, longtime friend of mine, Captain Sinbad, and he basically said, "John, come voice a couple of tunes for me and thing." I said, "Yeah, man, no problem." So we started to work on an album, and we visited a couple of studios during that time, and one of the studios was Irie Studio, which is the home of the Mad Professor. I don't know, some of you may also heard of him. Big producer.
Big producer.
Yeah, and I started to record there. And when, we kind of developed a relationship, and he says, well, basically, he would love to sign me to a Irie label before the album was finished, because he loved what him here go on. And I signed two 4-year deals with Irie. And basically, the first tune we put out on the Irie label was If I Gave My Heart to You. And yeah.
I don't even want to cut you, yeah?
Cut him.
But boy, I rub off some wallpaper to that. We all did, not you. All of us did. And it's funny because I was saying to Rudy, every year at some point I play If I Gave My Heart to You and Truly Boulder. It's in my
serious?
And I'm not really a Lovers Rock kind of dude, you know. I'm not that guy. Yeah, but bruv, and it's mad because about 2 months ago, I've been banging out this tune, and then I was saying to my dad the other day and my mum, I got to find John, Let me look on his Facebook and make sure everything blessed with him. Because he's on my mind. And then you call me and he's on it. It's just like, wow, man.
Yeah, man. There's a vibes.
That's like...
There's a vibes.
Anyway, carry on, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you know, that song went straight to #1, and it stayed at #1 for about nine weeks or something like that, through Christmas into Valentine's. So it was quite a big hit.
When you get a #1 back in those days, it was a
#1.
So tell me.
It was a #1. It wasn't like, like nowadays, #1 don't mean nothing. Back then, and this is generated record sales up and down nationwide, so yeah.
Yeah.
How many copies you reckon you sold of that record? Do you remember?
Well, I don't think they ever told me the truth.
Do you know what's funny? I was just telling them that one of my reggae #1s, a tune called Money Honey with Scooby.
Yeah, on the One Love label.
We done that on One Love,
yeah.
and we sold over 20,000 records to reach #1. And in this day and age, if you sell 20,000 records...
You go #1 on the national charts.
On the national
you
charts,
You go #1 on the national charts.
Really.
So did you beat his 20,000?
Yeah.
Light work.
Without boasting, yeah, we did. But we actually got into the national charts, low end of the national charts with that record. So it did sell quite a few units.
So that record got into the low end of the national charts.
Yeah, it was in the national charts.
No poster campaign, no major label push. So for you to be able to get into the low end of the charts without a push, without any of those funny games being done, that was a massive, massive achievement right there.
Yeah, I give thanks. It was, thanks to everyone who went out and bought it and the DJs who were playing it, because obviously they have a part to play in it as well. But yeah, it was a big hit for me.
How did you feel though at that time? Was there a thought of, if we had the support of major labels, if we had the support of like the machine that probably Sweetie was getting at the time up at Island, do you think it could have been a slightly different ball game?
Most definitely. I don't think I felt that at the time, because again, at the time I was more just into my music. It was just about the music. Obviously, I was even speaking to Sweetie and earlier, and I said, if we knew then what we knew now, we would have done things differently. Maybe we would have benefited more from our early success. But most definitely, if there were, you know, there was more majors taking on reggae music and stuff at that time, yeah, of course, it would have been a big.
What are the kind of things that you know now that you would have done different back then?
Well, the main thing is to learn the business side of the music, because at the end of the day, you know, publishing and things like that, as a musician, that becomes your pension later on in life. Yeah, so you need to know, so that is being secured. You need to know that these songs that you take time to sit down and write, especially if people go out and buy them, that you benefit from them later. And if you don't benefit from them, your children or your children's children will benefit from them later. But at the time, in those days, we just glad to be singing. We're just glad to hear the music. I'm just glad when people say, "Boy, that was a nice song." That was my satisfaction. I wasn't looking at the bank account or the bank, because you're almost trusting people to deal with that side while you concentrate on what you love. But it can't be just about the love anymore. You've got to put a bit of brains into it. And that's why I'm proud as well, like what Sweetie said about the youths them who's doing it now, because they got their head screwed on. They've got the business side locked up, and they're creating and making great music as well and making a mark. So, yeah.
I think it's like every generation you learn a bit more.
Yeah, most definitely.
So I learned from them. So when I saw what they did, I thought, that's what I was saying to you about the pop acts. I always thought, nah, bruv, I want the same as them. And my business needs to be right. So I always made sure before anything, my business was right. If the song ain't good, I don't want to be involved in it. I've always tried to keep a certain level.
Standards.
And you have to have the business right, or else you'll end up broke.
You're one
and
of
everyone gets from your what you know, put the work in.
You're one of them artists that the hood would say, "Why, Sweetie just disappear upon me, sir."
Really?
I would say so.
In which way?
You know why I say that? There was a time, Sweetie, that you were smashing the dancehall songs, them Two Red Eye, and all them songs back to back, and then you're gone garage pan with.
Ah, well.
I'm lying?
I'm really.
Am I talking the truth here?
And you know what? I'm glad. Exactly,
wait,
my sister.
Money.
And here's the thing.
Here's the money.
And it's not I'm chasing the money, you know. I'm an artist who, I'm easily bored. I like to keep moving. And any new music, I've never been ignorant to. You know, sometimes you can get stuck in a thing where, I don't like that music. That music, rabbit, that. And sometimes as an artist, you have to have your ears open. And how can I do what I do on that music? Now, garage, it's funny you say garage, because I had a #2 national hit on garage with a band called the Gorillas. Yeah, but really, all I was doing...
You was DJing lyrics.
I was just doing what I do. Yeah, I've got a platinum disc at home. You know.
Easy.
There's a thing called...
Round of applause for the platinum disc, please.
Well, actually, I got 3.
That's the 20,000 right there, bro.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, with garage, it was the same thing. It was like, well, I'd like to do this garage thing. It's UK music. Why shouldn't I be allowed to do it? It's because of man like us. Why there's even garage?
Well, we saw that movement, first of all, around the 94s, 95s, when jungle music came in. And I just did the interview with Konganati My Quest. Yeah. And he's one of the kind of like innovators of that kind of sound, with mixing up dancehall and reggae with that. And I suppose you could talk about this, Rudy, as a DJ being out on the forefront. Why did you think so many of our artists like Ragga Twins, Top Cat, Tenor Fly, all these sound system artists left from reggae and dancehall and did a sweetie before they did a sweetie.
I want to answer that.
Oh, go on.
I'm going to tell you why. And you might not like it, what I'm going to tell you.
Speak to me.
But it got to a stage in the reggae scene, I hate to say this, where the promoters was really...
I was going to say that, you know. That's what I was... If you'd allowed me, I was going to say that.
Go on then.
Disillusion.
Yes.
You know, unfortunately, there's a little stigma within the reggae fraternity. Jews not getting paid, you know. So therefore, certain sound man, and it's happened. It happens right up to today. A lot of artists that have risen with sound systems have sort of like said, "Sure, I'm going down this avenue. I'm going down this avenue." And the thing is, you go and see a jungle producer, a garage producer, and they're looking after you. They're giving you advances. You know, some things that a reggae man you ain't never seen that before. So what? Yeah.
Do you know what it was for me? I feel like it got to a stage where when I was doing shows, I was keeping some of my own shows. So I'd keep a tour in the UK, but I'd be in control of it. And by about the end of the 90s, I did a couple shows, and it would never happen to me again, where I trusted certain promoters, and all now I still ain't been paid. And you know when you've had that a few times, and then over there, these people, they want to pay you, and they want you to do the music and stuff. After a while, I've seen so many great artists and singers just drop out because they've been used and abused by certain promoters. Whereas I didn't really go into garage for money. I actually went into it because I thought it was cool music, and I wanted to see what would happen if I do what I do on that music, and the rest is history.
Can I just say this though? With the knowledge that you had, do you not think it would have been better for the music that you love and what brought you to that place to kind of use that knowledge and spread it to others and try and make that change? How do you mean? And fight with it. With what? With the knowledge that you've got from the mainstream and the way you put together your shows.
As in with reggae?
Yeah, with reggae.
Listen, I am reggae. And this is where sometimes it gets confusing. So, like, I did a tune a couple years ago, top 20 tune, with Nadia Rose. Some of you lot might not know her. She's a young girl. And I really like making music with young people, with the new music. So it wasn't a case of like, I'm not reggae. What I do is reggae. So even if I sing on this, it's reggae. You can't, my voice is too dirty for it not to be reggae. Not true. Anything I do is reggae. It's true.
That's true.
Real talk. When Bob Marley started doing the roots rock reggae, I never forget, because I was a young boy, but the reggae scene weren't happy with him. And now you realize how incredible that music was. Yeah. So sometimes you have to be brave, you know, and stand by what you believe in, really.
Step out.
As a man that kind of steps out, because Rudy's one of the guys that has been a pioneer alongside the likes of Norman J with the whole rare groove movement. He's a man who will play house music, all sorts. You could have chosen any route to have gone Rudy. Do you kind of feel the same kind of frustrations that Sweetie has felt with the music in the scene?
Yeah, I think all of us. I think even John would say yes to that as well. Within, you know, growing up, the sound system, playing week in, week out, running out, spending out your money buying records, having to maintain sound, equipment, for a promoter to be coming and telling you, yeah, I'll call you in the week. To pay you. Like, come on. You know, and it still happens today. The amount of big name sound systems and DJs that I see and I hear who go out and hire trucks, you know, go and string up 20 boxes in a hall. Dances ram. The promoter's actually got the bar as well. End of the night, it's just a sound man and just packing up. Everybody's gone. Promoter's gone home. They're on holiday next year. It's disheartening.
Yeah, it's the music. It's the industry, the reggae music industry in general.
It's always been like that. It's always been like that. Sorry, John.
Yeah.
From recording artists back in Jamaica, you know, I believe it's only like in the 1980s that there was an actual publishing system that was set up, and I believe it was set up by Gussie Clarke, Anchor Records, who set up the first sort of publishing system in Jamaica for Jamaican artists to get their royalties. Now you think, how long has reggae music been, you know, we're talking about legends here, you know, people like Gregory Isaac, Alton Ellis, all Studio One, that whole, you know, plethora of artists and music greats, not a dime.
You see, what they used to do when I first started, what they used to do, which I never took, but what they'd do is say, here's a couple £100 for your tune, sign this. And then what happens is you sign away all your writing. And the song what you write, someone else now owns your writing. And every time a lot of people don't know this, but every time your song's played on the radio or in a bar or on the TV, there's a certain amount of money that comes to you. Actually, PRS is every 3 months.
Every 3 months, quarterly.
Every 3 months you get paid. Now imagine if you keep selling your songs for a couple £100. That means that every 3 months some brother down the road is collecting your money.
And it's worldwide.
It's worldwide.
Because our music is being played worldwide.
Do you know what's beautiful about this whole online internet thing? It is worldwide. Everything's connected now. So PRS isn't, you know, oh, I wonder what my PRS is. The PRS, you look forward to PRS. Do you understand?
It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
So these are the things
It's
where...
more than a shopping money.
Of course, but a lot of people...
More than that, it's a good shopping money.
It's a good thing.
Man. But now, this is why I'm proud, because these younger youths, like the Stormzies and the Fredos, they already know about that.
But you was definitely one of the first mans to make that move, step over, just even from like the early days of One Extra, the way you kind of stayed in the background of production and all the rest of it. Did you ever envisage what you kind of, as a lone soldier, I suppose, because it was only like yourself, General Levy probably had a run out there as well in the mainstream. Did you ever think that it would get to this place where it is right now, where you would see like the whole industry run by black youths?
I did, and I still feel like we got a long way to go, because what happens is they're still giving the music to the record companies. But in this day and age, these youths, like, they put out a song and within a day, they got millions of views. They don't need the record companies. So I feel like in America with the hip-hop industry, they've kind of kept it for themselves. You don't need the record companies. It's good to have them if they're playing on your terms, but I always imagined it would be like this, and I imagine that the next set of youths are going to take it further still.
Can you say the same, John, about reggae in the UK? How do you feel about reggae in the UK right now? When you think about the numbers that you was doing, what is it, nearly like 30 years ago, I suppose, and when you think about
40 years ago.
40
yeah.
Well, 40 years ago, and you look at where reggae is right now, how do you feel about where reggae is in the UK? Does reggae sit amongst everything else that is going on out there, where you will see the success of garage, UK hip-hop, even little dancehall, but do you see reggae amongst all of that?
At the moment, if I be honest, I don't see it on the same playing field, but I still believe in it, and I feel that reggae is rising. You know, even as we speak. I mean, I think it's taken a little dip here and there, but it's not going away. And as I said, I feel that reggae is actually on the rise at the moment. And if it's on the rise, that means everything is going to rise with it. Dancehall, lovers, rock, everything, because it's reggae music.
As a man that's on the radio all the time, Rudy, and you're playing the music and you're seeing the artists that are out there, let's talk about UK lovers rock particularly, because it is that UK sound of reggae. Where are the next stars from UK lovers rock, and where does it fit in amongst like what's going on out there?
You know what I wish, if there's one wish that I do have for the reggae industry in the UK, is that it just gets more support from the public.
I think it has to come from the community.
Yeah.
Before the, you know.
Yeah, it has to get
like from our own.
When Lovers Rock was beaten, There was nothing. There was not a genre in this world. I don't care if you were the biggest soul artist in the world. You couldn't touch Lovers Rock. You could not touch it. You know, it's the, like you said, it's the greatest export musically that the UK has ever produced. You know, today, there is a hell of a lot of good music, and that's one of the reasons why I love playing on the radio, because I find that radio, as a media, it's like having a one-on-one. It's like you guys just sitting here, and I could just sit here with turntable or my laptop controller and just play you certain songs that you would never, ever hear out in a club. But because you're in the comfort of your car or your home, you're going to take more time to listen to this particular song. I could sit here and play hours of sweet, good quality reggae music, and you guys would be like, wow, where was this? I've never heard this. So, you know, I think it, not only the community and the public, I think also DJs, the DJs need to get behind reggae music, UK reggae music more as well. You know, and not just Lovers Rock, even dancehall.
Do you know another thing that really helped my success is the pirate stations that came at that time. I think it was maybe 1990, them kind of, was it Time Radio?
Time Radio.
It's the first.
Yeah, around.
Right here in West London.
In West London.
Yeah, so that really helped, because now it's almost like social media in a way. It got us into everyone's living rooms.
Can I just ask, by show of hands, who still listens to local community stations?
Who listens to Reggaeology?
So we're still, and who streams their music and watches via YouTube? Okay, cool. So you're saying the DJs were very important.
It's a point what I wanted to get to. You just reminded me. At the time, we had the pirate stations, but also we had Choice FM, black owned, and
Well,
this is
everybody said
because that was our
easy,
station.
I'm one extra,
But that
you're not gonna hurt me now. Since
But
one
that was
extra
our-
come, everything changed.
listen,
Oh my God.
listen. That was our station. You know the boss. I used to go to the boss and say, Neil, I'm coming to see. Yeah, sweetie, no problem. Come in. He'd make me, you know, I like a tea. Make me my tea, 2 sugars. I sit down, put my legs up. He'd say, how can I help you? I can't go to Radio 1, the boss of Radio 1, and say, yeah, sweetie, I'm coming. They don't know me. They might know of my music, but he's not letting me come put my feet up on his desk. So that was a big blow to lose Choice FM to Capital.
By a show of hands, how many of you think that the music was affected and has been affected by the loss of Choice FM? 100%. Damn.
Daddy Ernie, come on. Where is Daddy Ernie? What a great DJ. Commander B. Jigs. Jenny Francie. Who knows Jenny Francie? What a DJ. Where are they? This is our people. So this is the point I was making to you.
You know I was coming with that. Ask him where
But
they
this
are.
is the point I was making to you about having our own. And I feel like we're getting there, but we're not quite there. So I'm hoping, whether it's drill or whatever the next genre of music is, they have their own. Where a lot of UK reggae artists struggle is reggae music is Jamaican. Let's not, you know, get it twisted. We got a UK style of reggae, but it's Jamaican. So somewhere along the line, you have to have something of your own. And this is the progression where when you have grime music and even jungle, and it's progression. So our kids now have their own music. When I was growing up, you was either into hip-hop or reggae. There weren't no other genres. True. And you either rapped in a Yankee accent or Jamaican. You could have come from anywhere. You had to either Jamaican or Yankee. And for me, you got these kids now singing in English. That's progression, bruv. So, yeah, for me, we're moving, man.
Rudy, your take on it. What do you think of broadcasting the music right now?
In terms of, are we talking
the quality of DJs that we've got out there and the way that they present the music out there right now? Because as you said, there is music out there.
There's
if
a lot of music
out
there. Yeah.
You break it down.
There's a lot of music,
labels, all of this.
Yeah, there's a lot of there are a lot of good presenters across the pirates, which is what they are, the community stations. But then there are a lot who personally, I feel could do with a few lessons. You know, musically and elocution. You know, because the thing is, most of the stations out there now, community stations, you have access via the World Wide Web, so you can be anywhere in the world and pick up a station. But somebody who's in Australia is not interested in you bigging up your brethren who lives in Halston. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think, and I've said it to, I've actually said it to my station management from time to time, you know, we need to sort of like step back and look at the way that the shows are presented on the station, you know, because it's a reflection. It's a reflection. What you do goes before, you know, it goes before you. So, yeah, I think the music is there. It needs to be embraced more, and just needs to be embraced and given out, played for people to hear it.
How many people in here write letters and complain? Like, honestly, as I work on One Extra, and sometimes I feel like I'm a lone soldier up there fighting for the culture that I want to represent, for what you do, John, and play your music. But how many of you guys actually turn around and send an email? How many times we send message from Facebook? Send this.
But they can't. They ain't got no address to send it to.
The avenues is still there. You can't find. You'd send it on Instagram, but now real talk. Like, how many of us have ever complained and say, we want a change?
I complain to the BBC all the time. I do. I write to them all the time and say, well, it's not fair. It's not equal. So I'm not talking about One Extra, because One Extra is designed on an urban tip. One Extra, most people can't get on their normal radio. So when I'm driving in some little hill in Scotland, they don't know about One Extra, but they know about Radio 1. And I looked at all the DJs on Radio 1 for the whole day. And I think maybe the only black DJ is Clara. Am I right?
Clara Amfo, yeah.
So how can that be right?
So you've written and complained about that?
I complain all the time. And no one answers me back. They never get back to me.
Out of office.
They just don't get back to me.
This is an automated email.
Because it's too close to the truth. Do you understand? And it's okay for me to be proud and black. It doesn't mean I don't like no other cultures. Yeah. I'm born in London. Yeah. You know, we all grow up together.
Represent
black,
us.
white,
Represent
Chinese.
us.
Yeah, but it's okay for me to be proud and black and want other people to represent me. So that's what I was saying about going back to Choice FM. It was a black station run by black people. Now, in a funny way, a white artist could say, well, that's not fair on me. Do you understand? With Choice. But I feel like we're underrepresented.
It's a reaction to action, isn't it? We have to react to the point that we never had nothing.
Yeah, but I'm glad they still have the extra. Because, you know, if it weren't for that, we wouldn't be here right now.
I hear that.
Yeah, so...
So remember, I do want to take questions from any of you guys. If you got any burning questions that you want to ask any one of our esteemed guests on the panel right now. So, John, what are you up to right now? How do you input into the culture that you have been part of for so many years?
Well, I'm still recording. I've just finished setting up a new studio, which we're going to be using for, as well as my own productions, but workshops and stuff like that for up-and-coming artists. I think it's important, as I said, I've been in the business now quite a few years, and I think it's important once you reach to a stage in your career that you start to try and put back, even if it's the knowledge, or even if it's the mistakes that you've made, you try and put that forward to make sure that others don't make the same mistake. So yeah, we're doing that, and also we're pioneering a lot of live shows as well, because one of the things which I believe didn't help, I would say Lovers Rock especially, but it probably goes across the board. But in the early days, we used to do a lot of PAs. When people wanted to see the artist, they'd call us and we'd sing over backing tracks and things like that, which we still do today and will still do. But I think we missed out by not taking taking up the live element as much as what we should have. And I think that's one of the things that I've done recently as well. I've set up a band which backs established artists, which we're going to use to, bring up and coming artists, etc. as well, and push the live element of the music, because I think that is another experience that will take the music further. I think standing there watching your artist sing on a big massive stage with just curtains behind him is different to seeing the man who plays the bass, the man who's licking the drum, the man who's blowing the horn. It takes it to another level.
Visual.
Yeah, visual as well as the audio. And I really believe that in the early days we overdone it with the PAs. That's my personal opinion. I can't speak for everybody else, but part of what I'm doing now is trying to do more live work and encouraging some of even the promoters to put on live shows so that we can bring the music more to the people. Yeah.
Sweetie, from sound systems to Top of the Pops to touring the world, festivals and all the rest of it, what keeps you motivated to keep moving?
I really, really love music. I wake up every day and think, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky to be able to do it. So I'm always looking for challenges. And as I say, I really like new music, what the young people are doing. So what I try and do is link up with them, maybe give them a hook, they do a verse. But yeah, I mean, I'm in love with music, man. It's my first love.
How do you find linking up with some of these youths right now? It's a bit of a madness out on the road, and we can't pretend to what's going out on the road. Do you see that kind of attitude when you're in studio with them? What is it that you see? What is it that you get when you're with them?
When you're in studio, you're just in studio to, create something. So there's no attitude. I don't really do attitude in the studio. We'll slap them for that. Yeah. Every time I'm in the studio, because I come with a good energy, I don't really come with no attitude. So I wouldn't expect someone I'm working with to do that. We come and we just try and make music. So no, I haven't experienced no bad attitude.
And I can't really ask John this question, but I suppose I can ask you, because doing dancehall, it's got the pros and the cons, it's got the good and the bad, it's got the hard and the soft. Do you feel where we are right now in 2019? I grew up listening to Ninja Man, Bounty Killer, NWA, all that horror stuff. But for me, it was art. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? I took it for what it was, just like watching a film. And I wake up in the morning and I get on with my life as normal. But I'm not too sure where I am with the music right now. Even just as an adult, as a dad that's got a 14-year-old son, and listening to some of the lyrical content that is out there, the way I absorb it is slightly different. I may be a hypocrite. I am actually probably a hypocrite.
I think you are a hypocrite.
I am a hypocrite. I don't mind saying I'm a hypocrite, but there's nothing wrong with saying that you've changed, you've grown up, and you've matured. What do you think of where the music's at right now?
I always feel like, when you're a young person, you can only sing about what you know. So a lot of this music where some people might think it's aggressive or whatever, how about they was doing it more than singing it? Because some of them are just singing what they're living, what they're going through. And you can't really wrong a man from singing his truth or a woman from singing her truth. So for me, it's, as I say, some people, you get to a certain age and I don't like that music, turn that music down. That was our parents. We turn into our parents. And you need to keep your mind open, if you know what I mean. So I'm okay with it.
What would you say to parents? Because obviously you're of the same generation of all these people that are in here. What would you say to the parents about the music that their kids are listening to?
I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted to listen to music what my mum and dad hated. And it never changes.
Nothing don't change.
Nothing don't change. But you have to remember, even when we're growing up, we can only sing about what we know, what we're going through. So if you hear these kids singing about knife crime, it's a real thing. When we was growing up, it wasn't even knife crime, it was gun crime, you remember?
True.
So they kind of got rid of the gun crime. That's what we sang about. I sang about ladies. because because I used to, I used to like singing about
Do you
ladies.
see the way he says it? Yeah. I sang about ladies.
Listen, a great lady raised me. You understand? And yeah, man, I got so many great ladies around me, and I've created great ladies. So yeah, that was my angle. It comes easy to sing songs for ladies, but
You also sang about racism, though.
that was
What was that song? That racism we call, innit?
yeah.
And that
It's a thing what I always sing about it. It's something I always sing about.
how much of it have you seen in the industry?
This is the point I was making about the industry. There's one guy I know called Darkus.
Island Records.
When I first signed to Ireland, he first signed to Ireland. And apart from Darkus, I don't really know much black top A&Rs who I can ring them up and say, bruv, I'm coming to see you. I got a tune, what I want. So there's definitely racism in all industries. I just feel like in the police, in the schools, there's a lot of, our society is very racist. And we're fighting it, and there's a lot of progression, but there is. A lot of people don't know this, but I, for about 7 years, worked in different schools, in Prues, where the kids, they say, are bad.
Pupil referral units.
Yeah, I used to use music and engage them. So I did it for 7 years. So I've seen the other side and how racist it really is. And now I have a son who goes to school. When my son was in nursery, he was 2. The nursery called me and said he's being aggressive. I said, he's 2 years old. He don't even know what day it is. So it starts from there. It's a serious thing. It's a very serious thing. It's tough for black boys. And, everyone knows that. So even black women know. But when they have a black son, all of a sudden they really realize how hard it is. And black women's journey is very tough. So I feel like we're progressing, and the younger generation are more open. They're not so racist. I think the older generation, like them old white guys who's running the House of Lords and Parliament and that. Yeah, is this going on one extra? Burn them up! Burn them up, rude boy.
BRUKOUT.
All right,
It's not a
BRUKOUT.
one extra. It's not a BBC thing.
But it is. It's not just to music. It's society. But it is changing compared to when I was young to where we are now. There's a lot of progression.
Do you ever think that you would see somebody like a Stormzy on Glastonbury headlining at the biggest
I did.
festivals?
That's what I said to you. I did, because I've headlined festivals. I did the BBC Proms the other day. Jules Holland said to me, "You're the first reggae act." I said, "Are you kidding me?
Seriously?
I'm the first reggae act to do the BBC Proms." So progression. There's definitely progression, but I want more.
I hear that.
Yeah.
So Rudy, is this music that we love so much? Is it just a music of influence, or is there power behind this music that we are supporting in Black History Month?
Reggae music always has been and always will be the heartbeat to the people. Whether it's roots, whether it's dancehall, whether it's lovers rock, under whatever category, it's always been the heartbeat of the people. It ain't going nowhere. It will always be here, and it's our music. It's our upliftment, and it's for us to nurture it as a genre, look after it, cherish it.
So people, when you turn on your TVs and you see MCs spitting behind mics, it's because of people like this. When you see singers going at it, and like the likes of Western and these people are out there, and by the way, Western is connected to reggae. Their family is fully connected. Yeah. Louisa Marks and the wall of them. It's because of a gentleman like this. And then when you see selectors wheeling up and pulling up and cutting out bass line and all the rest of it on these big festivals, it's because of a man like this. This is the history of music worldwide sitting in front of you. This is the source right here. Even if it's not these individuals, it's people like this. And this is what this is all about. That's why we have decided to do BRUKOUT and Chat, because these kind of stories are never, ever, ever told. You don't see them on BBC 3, you don't see them on Channel 4, you don't hear about them. And if they are done, the people that are contributing don't look like me, Sweetie, Rudy, and John McClean. Round of applause for my guests tonight. Thank you very much.